Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Kayla and I share a bunch of different motherhood and lifestyle content over here on my channel. I would love it if you sticked around and hit that subscribe button. So before we get started, go get yourself a nice cup of coffee or tea or whatever it is that you enjoy, because we're gonna be probably talking for a little while. First and foremost, however you feed your baby is the right way for you and your baby. Don't let anybody try to steer you in the wrong direction. Don't let anybody try to tell you to do something that you don't want to do or make you do something because you don't want to do it. I think I just said the same thing twice, but you get what I'm saying. If somebody is telling you to feed your baby formula because they're not getting enough milk with your breast milk, or they're not full because they're breastfeeding, or just give your baby formula so you don't have to breastfeed them, or if they try to pressure you into breastfeeding and you really don't want to do it, it's not for you anymore, or it's not for you at all, whatever the case may be, whatever you do is your choice for you and your baby. It is good no matter what you choose. Now, giving you a little bit of backstory on me, this is my third baby and the first one that I was actually able to breastfeed. I am very, very, very surprised, also happy that we made it this far. My goal was at least 6 months. Now that we've succeeded 6 months, my goal is to a year. So I will say I'm very proud. I'm very proud that I stuck through it, and there was a lot of dark times, or not dark times, a lot of hard times for me to breastfeed, but we did it. I'm here now, 8 months. So if I can do it, you can do it. But just giving you a little bit of backstory, I have a 7-year-old and I have a 2-year-old. My 7-year-old, I was really young when I had her. I was actually 20, and I wasn't really into breastfeeding. I mean, I wasn't opposed to it, but like I said, okay, I'll try it, but it ended up not being for me because one, I ended up being back in the hospital. I ended up having an infection. I had an emergency C-section after 32 hours of labor. I kind of went into detail on all this on previous videos, but yeah, I'll probably link the card up here if you guys want to know like my back birth stories. After I was sent back to the hospital, I didn't even try to breastfeed her. I just continued to give her formula. So that's what happened that time. Then when I had Zaya, who was 2, I really wanted to breastfeed. And I will say that I did try, but I didn't try hard enough. So I ended up exclusively pumping for her for 7 months. So 7 months I was exclusively pumping. It was a lot of work. I will say that if I had to do that again this round, I wouldn't have done it. It was not good on my mental health. I mean, I'm very proud that I got to do that for her, but it wasn't good on my mental health. It was a lot of work. If I wasn't feeding her, then I was pumping. And then it got to the point to where I was pumping to feed her because I wasn't, towards the end, I wasn't producing enough. And then I ended up switching her to formula. This time around, oh my gosh. So if you guys haven't seen my birth story of how Arlo got here, she is 8 months old. It was crazy. I honestly thought when I was in the hospital with her that I wasn't going to be able to breastfeed her just because of how everything that happened. It was so crazy. Thankfully, I did. When she was in the NICU, they did give her a little bit of formula when she was in there because my milk wasn't coming in yet. And since I couldn't actually breastfeed her, I had to pump while I was in the room. I would be pumping, and then as soon as I was done, Malcolm would actually run it down to the nursery, and then they would give it to her through the IV. I couldn't actually breastfeed her until about 30 some hours afterwards. As soon as I got her, she had the perfect latch. Okay, but I'm like rambling I have notes, guys, of everything that I wanted to cover. So this video is for anybody that is pregnant and wants to breastfeed, or if you are breastfeeding and you need more tips of how to get through it, or Whatever it may be, I hope you find this video very helpful. If you do find it helpful, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Leave me any comments down below if you have any other questions that I did not cover in this video, and I will gladly answer them for you. And also don't forget to follow me over on Instagram. And yeah, you can send me any messages over there as well, and I will answer them for you. So like I said previously, her birth wasn't as planned. I had to pump, and then Malcolm would run down the actual storage bottles, and then they would give it to her. I was pumping every 2 to 3 hours. I wanted to get my milk flow in as soon as possible. It usually takes about 3 to 5 days before your milk actually comes in. So the more you're actually stimulating your boobs, your nipples, the milk will start producing. So that's exactly what I did. As soon as she was born, since I couldn't have her, even though I was in so much pain, I just automatically got the pump, started pumping. Now also, I don't know if this is every hospital, but a lot of hospitals have lactation consultants that will actually come in with you and talk to you if you want them to make sure you have a good latch, or if you want different ways to position the baby when you're nursing, anything like that, they are there to help you. I had a really nice lactation consultant that came in while I was nursing her, and she said that the latch was perfect. And honestly, that's amazing, because Zaya did not have, my 2-year-old, she did not have a good latch at all, and that is the reason why I ended up having to pump with her. Multiple reasons as well, but that is one big one. I could not get her latch down good at all, and it was really just very stressful. I could have honestly took her to the hospital, and they have classes there to where they can help you with that, or I could have found a lactation consultant as well, but honestly, I just didn't do it. But when this time around, my last time, the lactation came in, and when she was looking at everything, she said my latch was great. She was showing me just different positions that I could actually feed her, find which one is best for me. The best way to nurse them is for you to get comfortable and have the baby go around that way. So at first, when you're nursing them, I will say you're kind of like, you want to lean forward and then have the baby kind of like up against you, so it's more comfortable for the baby than you. But honestly, your milk flow will come better when you're more relaxed. So get in a position where you are relaxed and you feel comfortable, and then have the baby come. I will say one of my favorite positions to nurse is laying down. So in the bed, for instance, if I'm laying on my side nursing her and she's laying down, that is one of my favorite positions, because I'm relaxed and she's relaxed. Another position I really love is the football, no, not the football. I never could get down the football position. I don't know. It just never was comfortable for me. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. The lactation consultant also tried to show me that, but I was like, it's just not comfortable for me. So I didn't do that. The one where, I don't know the actual term for it, but they're just laying in the front of you like this in your arm. Let me see if I stand up and do it. So if they're just laying like this in the front of you and they're nursing this way, that is honestly another one of my favorites. Now that she's bigger, it's a lot easier to do. I will say that when you first have a baby and you're nursing, get some kind of like boppy. I think I used that for Arlo for the first 3 months, or almost 3 months with her, because it just adds more support, and they're up higher, closer to your boob, instead of you like trying to lift them up with your arm to get up there, or if you're leaning forward and getting uncomfortable. It's just better to have them leveled with your boob. So get yourself a boppy. Now, when they first come home and you first start nursing, they nurse a lot, okay? They're nursing anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. Sometimes they're cluster feeding to where they're only eating for like just a little bit of time, and then they don't want to eat anymore, and then 5 minutes later they want to eat again. It is non-stop around the clock. Until you guys get a system down, until I would say Arlo was about 3 months, and that's when we actually had the every 2 to 3 hours. If you're not familiar with what cluster feeding is, it's when your baby wants to eat small feedings very frequently. Now, I also had to pump. This was very different than my other two, but okay, so I was told not to pump until I think it was like at least 1 or 2 months, because when you pump and you're also breastfeeding, it tells your body to produce more milk, so you're overproducing. But honestly, I had to pump because I was producing so much that I was just so uncomfortable and I was leaking everywhere. My boobs felt like they were rock solid and I just needed to relieve them. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with mastitis, I had that as well when I had Zaya and I was pumping. It is the worst pain that you could ever have. It's honestly terrible. And I did not want to have that again. So I knew if I didn't relieve the milk that was going to happen. So what I did was I was pumping. I would only pump when my boobs felt, after she was eating and they still felt very full, then I would pump it and I would just freeze it, and then they would be like my little stash. I had to pump, I think it was twice a day. So I would pump once in the morning, like after she had her morning feed, and I know she wouldn't eat for a while later, at least an hour or two later, my boobs still felt full. Then I would pump them until they felt fine. And then I was still full again by the time it was time for her to eat again. But if I wasn't, then, you know, I could just give her that milk, but I never had that issue. Okay, so for the first, I would say 3 months, at least in my opinion, it took about 3 months before I wasn't leaking through everything. So basically for the first 3 months, you're leaking through everything. So you need plenty of nursing bras and you need plenty of breast pads. I will show you 2 different kinds. I actually ran out of my disposable ones because I stopped using them once my body was used to my milk and it got on a routine and it wasn't leaking. Then I stopped getting the reusable ones and I just used my disposable ones. And I just started using my reusable ones, but at first I couldn't use these. So these are like the bamboo reusable, you just throw them in the wash. They come in a pack of 8, but I was leaking through these. Just sitting there, and if I'm nursing her and if I didn't have like another thing attached to catch the milk, not only this would leak through, it would leak through my bra and it would leak through my clothes. So I had to not use these. I had to use the disposable ones. I don't have them here to show you guys which ones I use personally, but they are the Up and Up brand from Target. I'll leave a picture up here if I can find one. But I was getting, I think it was like a count of 100, and I would just switch them out a couple times throughout the day. But yeah, so definitely need disposable pads, or you can try these and see if these work for you as well, because I would much rather use these so I'm not wasting and throwing something away, but it just wasn't working. Another thing you're gonna need is some very comfortable bras, or ones that, you know, get some comfortable ones that aren't so cute, but then you can also have some nice ones to where you can wear when you're like, you know, wearing clothes, nice clothes, and you're not at home. So I have these, which these ones aren't the most flattering, I will say, but they are very soft. So these ones I would wear when I'm like around the house, or I would wear them to bed, because you're gonna have to wear bras to bed until you stop leaking, because if not, you're gonna wake up in a puddle. So I have a few different ones of these. I think I have the nude color, a black, and a white. So this is what they look like, and then the other side is like this. You snap it down and feed, and then you just snap it back. And I will leave the link to this one. I'm not sure of the name brand of it, because it is not even on there anymore. It like faded off. But I'll leave the link to all of the stuff that I talk about, all the products and stuff. I'll leave them down in the description box, so don't forget to check it out in case you're interested in any of the stuff. And then the next one that I would use, so like I have one on now, it's the nude color, and then I have a black one. So it looks just like my regular bras. It has light padding in it. I think is this Motherhood, I think. I have one from Motherhood, and I think the other one is from, I don't know the name of it. I think it starts with a G, I'm not sure, but I'll put it down in the description box. So this one is just like a regular bra. It has the wire underneath. It has light padding, and then same thing, it just snaps and then it snaps back on. This one is more like my regular bras. This is what this reminds me of. Okay, another few things that you're going to need. You are going to need nipple cream or nipple balm. I don't have here to show you because Arlo is sleeping in my room right now and it is in there. That is the one that I use every single time she nursed, and it helped so much. It is by, is it called Organic Boob Ease? I think it's called. I will leave it down below. I got it from Target. It is amazing. They did give me one in the hospital by Medela, and it did not work for me. I did not like it at all. It just did not relieve anything. But this one that I have, it helps so much, and you guys are going to need nipple balm, trust me. Another thing that I highly recommend you getting, because I remember that I needed these so bad, and Malcolm ran out to Target to get them for me because I was in so much pain, are these little, I mean, you don't have to buy these. You can use peas, frozen peas or whatever, but these helped me so much. These I actually got from Target as well. They're just like the breast, what is this, ice pack? And they actually come with where you can warm them up as well, but I just needed them cold because they hurt just so bad. So I would put on the nipple balm and then set these into my bra, and they helped so much. Okay, so I'm kind of like rambling. I kept notes so I wouldn't ramble, but I'm still rambling because it's like, it's just all coming out at one time. But I want you guys to remember, breastfeeding is not easy. If anybody told you that it was easy, or if you felt like all you have to do is just whip your boob out and feed your baby, it's not like that at all. It's hard. It can be very stressful. It's a lot of work. It is a job in itself. So please do not get overwhelmed. I know it's hard for somebody to tell you that and then for you to actually not get overwhelmed because you're dealing with it, but I was there. There was many times that I wanted to quit because it either hurt so bad or it just was so much work. But I will say that it's worth it. It's worth it in the end. You can get through it. I will say that breastfeeding is probably one of the most stressful things that I have done in my life. It's just a roller coaster of emotions that you go through, and you're also in pain. You're gonna deal with cracked nipples, sore nipples, bleeding nipples. You guys, like, just think of the worst thing that happened to your nipples. That is what's going to happen. They're gonna hurt so bad or be sore so bad that you're not even gonna want the baby to touch them, but you know that you have to feed your baby. Don't think though, by me saying this, like, don't let what I'm saying scare you, because that's the last thing I want to do, is scare you and to make you not want to do it, because it's worth it, you guys. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm 8 months into it and I'm still doing it. So it's worth it. I just don't want you to go into it thinking that it's just going to be a breeze, because it's not. I just want you to have all of the information that you can have before you go into it. So by you watching this video, I'm hoping I'm giving you the best information. That way you're prepared for it. You have everything that you need in case you come into one of these problems. It is very, very time consuming. It restricts you from doing a lot of things. So say if you have other little ones, like I do, for instance. My middle child was 1.5 when I found out I was pregnant with my baby. So she was almost 2 when I had her. And she requires a lot of attention. She requires a lot of me monitoring her and making sure she's not doing anything she's not supposed to be doing. So when you're breastfeeding, it restricts you from getting up and doing things, or you have to get up and do things while the baby is latched onto you. So, or you're gonna be nursing for a lot of the time when the baby is first born. So you're gonna be laying down or sitting down a lot of the time. So don't think that you're gonna be able to get up and clean everything or cook a fancy meal every single day or whatever it may be, because your life in those probably first month is basically the couch. Like literally, I felt like I couldn't get anything done, and it honestly made me, one, overwhelmed because I'm the type of person to where I always feel like I have to be getting up and doing something, regardless if it's cleaning something or picking up after the kids or laundry, or even spending time with the other two kids that I have, like trying to give them one-on-one attention. It was very overwhelming for me in the beginning, but just know that it gets better. I did mention that you're going to have to sleep in a bra because you're basically going to be in a puddle if you don't. But I will say now, I think it took me up to 4 or 5 months of breastfeeding for that not to happen. So you're going to be basically sleeping in a bra for that amount of time, which sucked because honestly, I'm the type of person where I don't like to sleep in a bra. Okay, another thing I forgot to tell you guys, when you are nursing in the beginning, do not forget that the other boob will basically be leaking while you're feeding. So say if you're feeding your baby on this side, this boob will be leaking your milk. So another thing that you could do to help save this milk, instead of it just wasting onto a pad or onto your shirt, is purchasing something like this. I know they have ones that go inside your bra as well, but I didn't purchase that. I purchased this Haka because I've heard great things about it. So what I would do is I basically would use this on the boob that she's not nursing on, just to catch any of the letdown. And then I would just freeze it. Every single time I would use it though, I think I would at least collect 3 to 4 ounces in the beginning, which is insanely crazy. I would just store it, and then if she needed to go onto the other side, I would still have plenty of milk, or I could just give her this. Okay, let's talk a little bit about breastfeeding in public, because honestly, in your journey of breastfeeding, you're going to be breastfeeding in public. It's up to you how you want to breastfeed. If you don't want to breastfeed with a cover, you don't have to breastfeed with a cover. If you want to breastfeed with a cover, breastfeed with a cover. It's whatever makes you comfortable and your baby happy. Who cares? I know there's some people out there that are against it, or they think it's disgusting or whatever it may be, but that's their own personal issue. That's their own personal problem. Like, whatever they say or they act affects you. Like, all you're doing is feeding your baby. Honestly, what I would do, I haven't came to a point to where I had to actually nurse Arlo in public. I had to nurse, like I nurse her when there's people at my parents' house, like I've done that before. But when it comes to, like, say like at the store or at a restaurant or anything like that, I haven't came to that situation yet. Not that I care to, because honestly, I'm feeding my baby, so I don't really care what all these people are saying or looking at. So what I would do is, if we were going somewhere for the day, I would either feed her right before we're about to walk out the door, or if we're in the car, I would feed her there as well. Like, I would nurse her in the car and then go do what we were going to go do, and then by the time we get back to the car, I'd probably try to feed her again. If she did not want to feed, then that's fine. But that's usually how I would go about my whole feeding schedule, just so I'm not stopping. Like, if we're going somewhere and we're like out walking, I don't have to stop and find somewhere to feed her and so forth, or walk around and feed her. That was just easier for me, especially since I had other little ones with me. If you don't feel comfortable, let me tell you how the ways that I nurse. So like, if we're at like a family function or something like that, there was 2 different ways, or even in the car, there's 2 different ways that I would nurse her. I would either wear a shirt, make sure my shirt was basically breastfeeding friendly. I'm gonna use this as an example. So say if this is Arlo, okay? And if I had to feed her and I didn't want to use my cover, or if I forgot my cover and I had a shirt like this, so I would just lift my shirt up some and she would go under here, and I would just nurse her like this. I definitely would also go like this, just because air ventilation, airflow, you know. Or if you don't have a shirt that's like this, or if you just prefer to use your cover, I also have this cover that I've been using since Zaya It's by Milk Snob. So this is actually a nursing cover and also a car seat cover. This one is very, very soft and very lightweight. So you just go like this and then put her right under and then nurse her. So until Arlo was about 3 months, I was basically, or I still am, but so I always pump on demand. So that's another important thing. Don't try to put her on a schedule, especially at first. Like, she's not going to be on a schedule. They're babies, they're breastfeeding, they're basically just going to eat whenever. Okay, so basically don't not feed them, because say if she was hungry and it wasn't at that 2-hour stretch mark just yet, I wouldn't not feed her, because it hasn't been 2 hours or 2-3 hours. Like, if she was acting like she was hungry, I was going to feed her. So basically I was breastfeeding on demand. It wasn't until 3 months is when she was more on kind of like a schedule, to where it was strictly every 2 to 3 hours. But even still, even now, if it's like now, she's eating baby food, she's eating solids, and she's breastfeeding. So if I feed her food and she acts like she wants to nurse, I'm going to nurse her. It's not, oh, you just ate, or oh, I just nursed you an hour ago, you shouldn't want it. I'm not going to restrict her from nursing. So yeah, I basically nurse her on demand, but she is kind of like on a schedule. I would say starting at like 3 months, they get like that. I also did stop pumping at about 3 months. When she was 3 months, my body was kind of like adjusted to her schedule and how she was eating, and I wasn't basically overproducing at that point. So I stopped pumping at that time. Okay, so I'm also gonna share with you guys some tips of things that I found helpful for increasing your milk supply or maintaining your milk supply, because I know that is a big question. Just different things that I have done personally. And I will say the number one, drinking a lot of water. Like way more than what you normally do, way more than what you're supposed to do. I think you're supposed to drink like a gallon of water a day. If I'm not mistaken, it could be more than that, but you need to drink more than that. I will say that even when you're nursing, you'll notice that you're very, very thirsty when you're nursing. So make sure you always have that water beside you while you're nursing. In the beginning, you're always going to be thirsty, always. Another thing is your diet. There's a lot of foods that you guys can research that are very beneficial for your milk supply. There's like a list of them, but one thing that I know that I always definitely ate was oatmeal or oats. So I would have oatmeal for breakfast, or even for lunch, I would have oatmeal and put fruit in it. Another thing that I also did, I think I have a video on it where I showed you guys the recipe. If I find it, I'll link it down in the description box in case you guys are interested in on how to make them, but I made lactation cookies. I did buy some one time and they were so good, but you know, it could be pricey when you're eating 2 to 3 of them a day, because that's what they usually recommend for you to eat, is 2 to 3 a day. So I just went out, bought all the ingredients that I needed, and I made them at home. I froze them, then I would just take them out to eat them. Another one of my secret tricks is Gatorade, and it's not every Gatorade. It was a certain color and flavor, and I will be honest with you guys, I'm even still drinking them to this day. 1, because they're so good, and 2, because I honestly believe that they help my milk supply so much. Not that I even need it anymore, because my milk supply is still good, but I just found that this one Gatorade helps me so much. I would drink 2 of them a day sometimes, including all the water that I was drinking. Here they go. This is the light blue Gatorade. So this is the Gatorade Frost. The Glacier Freeze is the actual flavor. This one is so good. But I read somewhere, I don't know if it was a Facebook group that I was in on Facebook or if I found it on the internet, but I think it was Facebook actually, a Facebook group that I was in, and it was breastfeeding Facebook group, and so many women talked about this one. Definitely recommend trying this as well. Let me know if you've tried it. Okay, so that is all the tips that I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some very helpful information. If you are expecting and you plan on breastfeeding, congratulations to you, and I hope you do so well on your journey, and I hope you succeed. If you did breastfeed and you are not doing so well, hang in there, mama. I've been there. So if it's not working for you, that's okay. Just do what is making you and your baby happy. Whatever your baby eats, regardless if it's formula, breast milk, you have to just pump. Whatever it is and it's making you happy, just do it. Who cares what other people think? Just make sure that you're happy and you feel good about what you did and how you succeeded. All right, you guys, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram or leave me a comment down below if there's anything that I did not cover in this video. I tried to talk about a lot of different questions that I even had myself, but if there is anything that I missed out on, leave me a comment down below. I will answer it for you guys. I'm sure there's plenty of other mamas that might have the same questions as you do, so I can go ahead and answer them down below so other mamas can check them out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you guys are new, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.